Hey, what's up guys? All right, so this is part 2 of the FAQ video. Last video we did locating model, the most frequently asked questions. I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions about this business model. It's probably why you subscribe to the channel, Apartment Locating. It's a great business model. It's relatively the easiest thing you can do in real estate with your real estate license, right? It's better than, being an appraiser. Well, not better, but it's easier. Like if you were a home appraiser, if you were a mortgage loan originator or underwriter, if you're a traditional realtor, all of these jobs you can do within real estate, right? Generally speaking, becoming an apartment locator is the easiest and fastest way you can scale your income to 6 figures. Right? And the cool thing about locating is that, people are just looking to rent apartments. So you can imagine, right? You offer a free service for people that are looking to rent an apartment, right? Your service is free. Your database is more accurate than like apartments.com or other websites. So why wouldn't they work with you if it's free and you're gonna help them, right? So it's a really, really easy way to build a huge pipeline of contacts and interested renters that will later. What happens when you're a renter naturally in life, right? You rent, but eventually you want to buy. So what's cool is that when you build a pipeline in real estate as an apartment locator, right? You're making a couple grand, 2 or 3 grand here and there for referring them to their apartment. That's all well and good. I mean, heck, we make 6 figures off that model alone. But what's cool is that you're building an early relationship with real people that will eventually want to buy a house, right? And so it's so much easier in business. If you know anything about business in general, then you will understand that it's so much easier. It's actually studied. Harvard will tell you that it's 10 times easier to work with and close a pre-existing clientele, right? Other than a brand new client that's never even heard of you before, right? It's 10 times easier to work with people that already have an experience working with you, right? So it's a great way to start in the industry. You're building so many leads and contacts into your CRM. Well, if you use a CRM the way we teach. And then, these people are going to want to buy a house eventually. It might not be next year. It might be 2 years down the road. It might be 3 years down the road. But it doesn't matter because you work with so many contacts as a locator that some of them will buy a home. And my rate is about 5 or 10%. So I will locate and lease, set amount of apartments every single month. So I close like 300 closed people in a year. Okay. So that's what I do. Now, in my business, about 5 or 10% of them will want to buy a house. It was like a temporary thing, whatever. They moved for work. I don't know. But 5% of my clientele, that's a safe 5%, sometimes 10%. They just want to buy a house next year. Okay. And so if you take 300 closings, that's what I do. All right, you know what? I'm a pretty crazy good locator though, obviously because I teach this business, not to brag, but let's just be more conservative. Like maybe you're closing 200, not 300. So 200. Okay, that means like your average close in a month is like 15 clients. Okay, so 200 in a year. Multiply that by 5%. Okay, that's 10. So 10 people will want to buy a house with your help because they know you, right? Every single year, and that's conservative, right? So if the average commission on a house is what, like 10 grand times, so 10 clients times 10 grand is another $100,000. So you're understanding, right? You can become a locator, quickly build a big pipeline, close 200 people in a year, okay? And then next year, by default, right, you'll close 10 people a house and make another 100 grand easy, 10 times easier because they've already worked with you, right? So that's the power in locating. You can choose to just focus on apartments the way I do because there's no paperwork and it's easier, so I like doing it. Or you can lease, other pre-existing clientele. You can help them close a house. Right, so there's a lot of advantages. Anyways, let's continue where we left off and just continue going through some of these frequently asked questions about the model, because this will really help you put it into perspective and you can manage your expectations or just really understand this industry a little better, okay? So let's continue. So can I do this alone or do I need to work for a company? I think that's the last thing we talked about in the video before this one. It is recommended that you do get your real estate license. A license isn't required in Colorado. That is the exception, but I just recommend everyone get licensed anyways, because it'll make your job a whole lot easier, okay? And then you will need a sponsoring broker to sponsor you if you don't have a broker's license, which is 4 times harder. You need 4 years experience, like 4 times the pre-licensing. And then the exam for being a broker is harder. It's more rigorous than a normal sales agent or a real estate agent, right? So you do need to work under a brokerage firm. That's where we left off. Go to an apartment locating focused broker so you can work some of their free leads and have them delegate them to do your collections for you. It'll make your life a whole lot easier. All right, let's continue now. Okay, so my state is, we get this question a lot. They're like, we get someone from like, let me give you a realistic example, like San Diego or something. Like, it's an awesome city for real estate, but a lot of them ask us, they're like, hey, my state, California and San Diego, it isn't covered on the locator database that you teach, right? This one right here, this database that we teach. This is like the only paid tool you need as an apartment locator. You can search for properties, create invoices, manage your accounts receivables and payables, manage all your leases, all right here. So this is the only real paid tool that you need. It's like $42 a month. Okay, so if your market isn't covered on here, that doesn't wipe you out of the model. Okay, we learned this from a student that invested in our program out in the US Virgin Islands. That's where she lives. Okay, so she just took the program and then made the model work. So when we talked to her, and she sent us this long email, and she was like, hey, I just made $4,000 in the last 3 days. My market isn't covered in the database. So what I did was I just reached out to all the landlords in the US Virgin Islands. She like explained her market to us. And she's like, they're all private landlords out there. So I reached out to them all around the city. No one was doing this. And they agreed to pay me a month if I leased up some of their vacancies, right? So she got all the agreements in writing, which is what you want to do, right? And then she just referred clients over there. She just took pictures of the property, a little video walkthrough, would post the ads, and then people would contact her. She would go lease them, broker that experience, and she'd get a month. So if your market's not covered on the database, it's okay. It's not like it's going to wipe you out of the whole entire model. But what you need to do is you need to create a separate Google sheet or a spreadsheet, reach out to at least 5 properties or more. I mean, the more the better, but 5 is like very viable. If you can get 5 properties that will allow you to refer to them and they're not fully occupied and they'll pay you 1 month rent, that's almost all you need is like 5 buildings, okay? We have students that lease the same 2 or 3 buildings like every single month because, you know, as they're leasing up, people are moving out. So the vacancies always fluctuate. Not everyone's always 100% occupied, right? People do move out, etc. So we have students that lease like the same 2 or 3 properties over and over and over again, and that's how they do their 6 figures. But if you can identify 5 buildings that tell you in writing over email, yes, you can refer to us, we'll give you 1 month rent, you're basically good. And then the more you do over the 5th property, it's just better. It's just better, right? So you can build out your own custom spreadsheet, right, with the apartment name, their address, probably a folder with their pictures and video walkthroughs, and then what they're paying on your spreadsheet, okay? And then you can market for those properties individually, like particularly those properties, and then you can send them over renters to lease their vacancies, right? As long as you have the info of what they're offering for what price. Usually they have a website and all the pricing's on the website, right? So it's very easy, right? And if you just help send people over there, they will pay you and you will make a lot of money because, you know, if the average commission's $2,000, all you need is 5 or 6 clients to get you to 10 or 12 grand in a month gross, right? So it's very, very doable. It doesn't wipe you out of the system, but then you will have to take the extra step to make your own spreadsheet, email these properties, get an okay, and then you can just make the model work that way, even without the database. And guys, even though it is an extra step to set up a custom spreadsheet, the positive, there's always a positive with a negative, right? So the negative is that, hey, there's an extra step, you got to reach out to these properties, but the positive is that you're probably the only one doing it. So like our student out in the US Virgin Islands, if you're the only one doing it, you're going to absolutely just completely destroy that market and do all the business as like the only locator or two that's doing it in that market, okay? So that's how you do that. Now, next question we get a lot is how many ads do I need running at a minimum? So a lot of the organic platforms that we teach, they're flooded by other brokerage firms, other locators. So the way me and my students reach success is I teach an auto poster, right? There's popular sites like Craigslist, Marketplace, all the free sites, right? But it's not enough anymore to manually post on those sites. You need to do at least 10 ads every single day in order to compete, get leads, and really close people to compete with all the big firms. So the way we get this done, the way I teach it, is to set up a Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist auto poster. That's how you get that done. All right, so that's the answer to that. And we teach how to do that in the program. All right. So let's move on to the last two questions here. All right, so does Instagram or making TikTok videos actually help? All right, if you guys have followed other successful apartment locators or firms on Instagram, you'll see they make a lot of reels of like walkthroughs and they make TikToks, etc. So does that stuff actually help? So the answer is yes, it does, but it shouldn't be like the first thing you work on. Does that make sense? Like, it's much more valuable to get your organic ads posting, right? Ideally through the auto poster we teach, right? Because that's what's going to scale you in the quickest way as far as lead gen and closing your first few clients, right? Also choosing the right brokerage firm so they can hand you a bunch of free leads you can piggyback off of, right? So those things you should set up first, right? Start your 10 ads a day auto posted, and that's going to be tremendously way more valuable than trying to build an Instagram strategy right off the bat. And down the line, even in our program, we teach an Instagram strategy on how to build followers and then grow your lead gen, okay? But the thing is, we use a couple different systems, two systems. One of them is built into your Instagram, so it auto responds to all your comments on your reels or posts, or your story. And if people DM you a keyword, it starts this like natural chat automation. It's really, really powerful stuff. So setting all that stuff on the back end and connecting it to your Instagram account is really important thing to do before you start making all these reels. Okay. And then using another software to bulk schedule all of your posts and your reels across all your platforms, right? Like Instagram, Reels, the YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and Facebook, right? It's all very, very viable. And LinkedIn, you can just auto post the same content amongst all your socials. And so using like a scheduling tool in bulk is super critical. You don't want to manually start doing anything when it comes to content posting. That would just be a rather waste of time. So yes, it is very valuable to do, TikTok walkthroughs or apartment locator advice, even if it's just you on a camera. All that stuff is powerful. Content is a great idea. That's what I'm doing right now. But you do want to be smart and organize everything with the right software tools, right? And luckily for you guys, we do teach all that stuff, how to organic schedule and bulk posts automatically in our program. So now let's go to the last question. Okay, so we get this a lot. What kind of computer do I need, and is a second phone suggested? So a lot of people struggle with understanding, like they're like, hey, like I'm gonna work with a lot of leads and a lot of people in my real estate business, so do I need a second phone to separate personal and business? So yeah, the answer is yes, right? We do suggest having a second, not phone, but a second line, like a second number, a business line. And what's cool is that if you work with Apple products, which is what we highly suggest for the locating space, like if you're an apartment locator and you're not using an iPhone or a MacBook laptop, you're at a disadvantage. And it's not because I care for one brand over Android. It has nothing to do with that, right? I understand Androids have better specs. That's always the argument, right? People are like, but my Android has 100 megapixels, right? I understand, and like eight processors and 100 gigabytes of RAM, right? I get it. Like Androids have better specs, but the thing is, we're not so much worried about specs in the apartment locator business model. We want something that will work seamlessly and synergistically together. Okay, like that you can copy stuff on your laptop and paste on your phone, or copy something on your phone and paste it on your laptop auto magically, right? So things like that, and then setting up the iPhone text replacements are huge in locating, to set that up for free under settings, right? So we teach all this stuff in our program, but it's really, really a big deal to work with Apple products in the locating space because of a lot of the systems that we teach and how Apple allows you to automate a lot of stuff, right? Also, a lot of people don't know this, but you can configure your messaging app right down here, the messages, you can configure that to text not only iPhones but Android phone numbers too. And so the big lesson that we teach about the laptop and the iPhone that we suggest is how you can add another cell phone line just by contacting your provider, like whether it's T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, whatever, right? You can contact them, pay for an additional line, and you can activate that line inside of your iPhone. So you can have one iPhone and 2 lines, and you just toggle on and off by tapping a button, right? That's what's ideal, right? And a lot of you guys that are on like phone plans or on family plans, that additional 4th or 5th line might be free, so it might not even be an additional cost. Okay, and then you add it to your iPhone. As long as you have an iPhone XS or above, then you can use that feature, right? And so instead of having 2 phones, you can just have 2 lines and toggle on and off through work. This is really, really helpful with a MacBook laptop because you can just pull up the messaging apps, switch over to your business line, and then just text all your clients, right? Super, super efficiently with the text replacement feature that iPhone offers. And you can text them on your laptop, just all clients, just switching over to that additional line. So we teach all of that kind of setup, and that's what makes it important to work with iOS, Apple products as a locator, okay? So we teach all of that. We teach the setup. It's pretty straightforward, and all of that stuff. So we even look at like the devices you use as a locator to really make sure you're going to reach 6-figure success. Okay. And then the students or new students that are interested in our program and they invest, if they don't have a MacBook laptop, we send them a MacBook Air because it's really a big deal. We would rather us pay for the laptop and you reach success than you trying to use a poorer solution or like a Windows laptop, right? So if you don't have a laptop that's a MacBook, we will buy one for you. That's how seriously we take that. So that was about it, guys. If I missed any kind of questions or an FAQ question that you think is worthy to put on here, please let me know. We're always updating these. And because we like to provide answers to a lot of the frequently asked questions that our audience has, right? So let me know if you guys have any other additional questions. I think we covered pretty much everything between this video and the last YouTube video. But if you guys do have any other questions at all, you can stalk my YouTube or you can join our Facebook group, which is Apartment Locating School. It's free. Just go join it and we'll give you access. Other than that, guys, you can click the link below this video if you want to book a call with my team, talk to us. It's free. We can at least get you educated on how we're doing locating for late 2023 and 24. So you can just, take a lot of our advice or our model and use it for yourself, right? So book a call, it's free, and let us know if you have any further questions, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.